Greetings and salutations, Wastelanders and Wanderers. My name is Oskapt.
And Noodle Pants.
And we finally have a picture of the elusive Fisher Them.
The Fisher Them.
This is DJ Fisher Them. Waka 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 waka.
Wait a second. Is this Fisher Them thing like the super mutant thing?
No, this is actually real. Fishing
Is coming.
is coming to Fisherman's Rest, a new location in the mire where you will begin your fishing adventures. Here you will meet a new trio of characters, Captain Raymond Clark, a new mysterious figure who goes by the name The Fisherman, and Linda Lee, the Fisherman's pet hermit crab. But it seems confusing because it looks like, so don't talk to the Fisherman because they don't speak our language. So I think it should just be the Fisher Them.
They tried.
Anyway, so yeah, we have a genderless fish creature, and that's going to become relevant in a little bit.
I like the next part. Oh, and don't be alarmed when you find out that the crab that we just told you is a crab is indeed a crab.
Spoiler. Fishing actually sounds like it's going to be kind of cool, and I think there are a lot of people out there who are excited by it.
I'm one of them. Everyone is patiently, not so patiently, awaiting the answer to the ultimate question. Will Noodle be able to fish her own fish in her awesome little dungeon?
Inquiring minds want to know. There's going to be a new quest line called Casting Off, and you will receive your very first rod that you get to use with fish.
Ooh, a rod that you use with fish. Awesome. I like it already. So I like rods.
Once you have a rod, you can walk on over to the nearest body and start fishing. I'm sorry, body of water, and start fishing. When trying to decide where you can fish, remember the mantra, if I can swim, then I can fish. That's not really much of a mantra. That's not like num, home num, bening, po, or whatever it is.
Mantra at all. Or they could have just said fish occur in water.
So you don't actually need to equip a fishing rod. When you're nearby looking at a body of water, the fish command will appear on your screen.
Wait, so do you actually pull out a rod or not? Is there an animation?
Probably when you fish, then a rod will appear in your hand.
You know, I'm a little sore about animations these days. There better be a rod in my hand when this happens.
There's frequently a rod in my hand when it happens. Now, your rod that you initially get is not a very good rod. So you are going to need to find things with which you can upgrade your rod so that you can catch better fish.
Upgrade your rod to catch better fish. That's a good life lesson.
So you're gonna get rod styles, bobbers, and linear reels, which I think is like something that fishing nerds will understand, to improve your fishing experience. Because with a bad rod, you have a bad fishing experience.
That's so true. I can't argue with anything here.
And then with a good rod, you will be able to catch the mysterious creatures that live in the irradiated waters of the wasteland, because Lord knows that's exactly what you want to eat. Now, like life, some fish will be near impossible to catch until you have a properly upgraded fishing rod. So get out there, boys and girls and other things, and complete those fishing challenges.
And may the odds be ever in your favor.
Now, just because you have the best looking rod in Appalachia doesn't mean that you can catch any fish, because you need to use bait.
Oh.
In the old days, bait was called dollars.
Or wine.
But now,
or chocolate.
It's just called common bait, improved bait, and superb bait. So this is gonna be like a Honda Accord, and maybe like, this is I don't know, like a Mercedes or an H2, and this is a Lamborghini. So with common bait, you can get generic fish, scrapable junk because spelling is hard, and common regional fish. You can purchase this from the Fisher Them and Captain What's-His-Name in Fisher Them's Rest. You also have a chance at receiving this bait after completing the daily fishing quest. That's stupid. So you complete the quest and then you get the bait. Improved bait gives you a chance to catch uncommon fish. These are fish that are only found in foreign countries and on certain websites. Now, while you cannot purchase this from any vendor, you can trade improved bait with other players.
Oh my, now things are getting interesting.
Okay. You can also get more from Daily Fishing Quest, singular, because it's plural. Okay, anyway. Public events and finding it in lootable containers around the world, such as coolers and refrigerators. And then of course there's superb bait, which will be earnable as rewards. Read maybe ching, purchasable. In the upcoming season, this bait gives you the best chance to catch very rare fish.
I just want to know what the drop rate for the very rare fish is. If it's anything like rare Fosnock masks, boy, won't this get old super fast.
Now, weather has an influence on your odds of catching specific types of fish. naturally occurring weather, as well as modified weather from a weather control station in your camp
Okay, that's interesting.
will affect the type of fish that bite down on your rod. I mean, your hook on your rod.
No, dude, that's really cool. For instance, your camp is located next to a body of water. If you set up your thunderstorm weather station,
right?
or if you have the nuclear blast zone weather station, maybe you'll get irradiated fish.
Yep, so nukes and rad storms will create glowing fish, which are glowing variants of the regular fish. And rainy weather or thunderstorms give you a chance of catching the elusive axolotl.
Axolotls?
Now, if you don't know what an axolotl is, it is a special type of salamander.
They have hands.
Most salamanders start their life in the water and then they go through metamorphosis and they emerge onto land. The axolotl doesn't. It just stays in water because it's like, go to hell.
So it's a fish with arms. It's super cool.
However, do you know why the axolotl is elusive?
Because it's freaking endangered.
Because it's critically endangered.
Not
That's
even endangered.
Right.
Critically
endangered. And Bethesda's like, yo, why don't you catch some of these things and eat them? Because,
Good job, Bethesda.
there will be a different axolotl for every month of the year. So now that you've captured a few fish, what can you do with them? Well,
Eat them.
You can eat them, you can sell them, you can put them in a container.
I can see people setting up fish shops, like fish bait shops. If you have a camp, you can, I'll be making a camp that's all a fishing camp. I have my docks and everything. I have my boats. Those stupid canoes are finally going to find a place. And set it up on the river, set up the correct weather station, and just sell fish all day long.
Yep.
We'll be rich.
Because people pay for fish.
Yes, they do.
Now, what do you do when you have a few fish? Well, what every serial killer does when he has a few fish, you chop them up and turn them into fish bits. When you obtain a fish, by fishing or by trading with other players, because, nothing says trafficking in fish like trading with other players, you immediately learn the recipe to convert that fish into fish bits at a cooking station.
Am I the only one who has a problem with the phrase fish bits?
Well, maybe nobody at Bethesda has figured out that fish and bits have alternative meanings. Once you have some fish bits, what can you do? Eat them.
Nom 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 nom.
And that will restore small amounts of hunger and health on their own, but the best way to utilize this new material is cook grilled fish. When you eat grilled fish, you can catch fish faster for 20 minutes. I think that's like cocaine. And apparently that's good because they say you're about to do a whole lot of fishing. Because they think that that's all we're gonna do in the game now. It's like, we're gonna log in, we're gonna be like, I'm gonna fish. Well, there are other recipes that utilize fish bits, such as fish and potatoes and fish chowder.
Dude, I totally thought that said fish tacos. I must be hungry.
Fish and tacos, fish bits, fish and tacos.
Fish and tacos.
See where this is going, kids? You haven't caught on yet? Stay with us. And of course, you can feed fish bits to the hermit crab and she'll give a random legendary item.
That's cool.
That's cool. Just don't ask where it came from. You. Now, there's a bunch of fish. So common fish all over the place, glowing fish in the common fish places when it's a nuke zone, 12 adorable critically endangered axolotls, and local legend fish that you'll be bragging about catching.
Save the axolotls.
You'll get new camp items along with upgrades for your rod, and one of these items is a curved fish display.
Oh my.
You can show off that rare local legend or the axolotl that you were able to catch.
Is there a ribbed one?
So that's it for fishing.
I'm super excited about fishing. I think it's going to be loads of fun. If nothing else comes out of it, I'm going to make a kick-ass fishing camp.
I think fishing is going to be the wet version of caravans. Now, there's a bunch of other stuff coming out that's actually the really interesting bit.
Wait, this wasn't the interesting bit?
No,
The fish bit wasn't the interesting
fish
bit?
bits was not the interesting fish bits. No, and neither was the Fisher them. But this is going to drop before the fish update arrives, and these are changes to limb damage and crippling. And probably the only reason that you care about this is if you are one of the people who guards the Farmian using a black powder rifle or a dragon, because that's no longer gonna work. And of course, Bethesda is rolling this out as, oh, hey, so some things were unintendedly more powerful than we intended, and so they're changing that.
We fixed it.
But they're rolling it out across lots of perk cards and weapons. So, gun bashing, they're changing the ranks there. So you got, 2 ranks, enforcer, a bunch of stuff. I'm not gonna read through all of it, but these are just all perk card changes relating to limb damage and crippling effects. Tormentor is gonna move from luck to perception and is only gonna be 1 rank. You're gonna deal 20% more damage per crippled limb that your target has. That's pretty cool. So if you are, somebody with a fixer or something like that who can shoot stuff from far away, you can be like, pew, your leg, pew, your leg, pew, your arm. Though in most cases, things are dead before you even get to cripple the second limb. But for a larger enemy, that might be kind of interesting.
Yep.
Bone Shatterer. Your melee weapon attacks deal additional limb damage. Now, of course, this is going to fix the ghoul magic thing that's going on right now where you can slay the Guardian Battery in under a second, but you knew that was coming. As far as mutations, a change to Twisted Muscles. So with Strange in Numbers, you can get 35% melee, unarmed, and bashing damage, and 62% limb damage. So that's going to be your max. Now,
Meow.
instead of chance to cripple, these weapons, which are the ones that people are using for the Guardian, are changing to just have additional 50% limb damage.
Boo.
Bethesda.
Bethesda.
Additionally, these mods are the same.
But this is like, oh, we noticed you guys were having fun. Let us fix that.
You're not supposed to have fun in this game. You're supposed to grind and slave and give us all your money.
Make them pay.
Now, an interesting side effect of this is, and they actually talk about it up here, so they expect that most enemies will be easier to cripple, but limb damage itself will be more consistent and predictable. It'll also result in making crippling enemies like region bosses more difficult, requiring focused fire. Okay. They can also remove cripple immunity from many creatures and leverage limb and crippling in more engaging ways moving forward.
Yay.
So there are a bunch of enemies out there that are immune to crippling.
Like the Lesser Devils and all those.
Yeah, Blue Devil, Ogua, Jersey Devil, Lesser Devil, some of the Trogs. So, and then everything in Daily Ops. So you will be able to cripple these guys. You'll be able to cripple limbs, and that might make for fun things like let's shoot the super mutant in his arms and watch him not be able to shoot us.
Yeah, that is cool.
Now we've got more changes to perks, and one that I'm particularly excited about, which is that you will no longer need to have certain perks to craft stuff.
Oh, that is cool. That always messes with me.
So no more crafting loadout.
Oh, dude, I wasn't even thinking big enough. That is huge. I was thinking just, you know, it will save me some time not having to switch perks to craft that turret that I need to craft or whatever. But no, this is huge. I have 3 loadouts right now, and one of them is a crafting loadout. With my 2 characters, my main and my alt being the ghoul, I could absolutely use an extra slot.
I could use an extra rod. So they decided that it's cumbersome for us to have to change our loadouts at the loadouts changer. Cumbersome. They're so thoughtful.
They're so sophisticated all of a sudden.
So thoughtful. But they can't figure out subject-verb agreement. This brings changes to a number of perks. So slow metabolizer, all food satisfies hunger by an additional 50 or 100%, no more rank 3. Dromedary, 50 or 100% for drinks, no more rank 3. Hydrofix, chems restore thirst or twice as much thirst. Munchie resistance for hunger. And Chem Fiend, increasing the cost, but making it a single rank, and it just makes stuff last 100% longer. Who doesn't want that? I like when my chems last 100% longer. Travel Agent, oh,
that is huge for you.
that's just for me. Thank you, Bethesda. All right, you can fast travel while over-encumbered at an increased cost. Dodgy has some interesting change. So evade now costs AP and no longer has a cooldown. Point cost increased from 1 to 2, and the AP cost is 10 times the cooldown time. The cooldown scales with damage avoided, meaning that higher damage attacks cost more AP to avoid. This is very complicated. If for some reason you would not have enough AP to pay for the evade, then you don't evade.
Huh.
I think that's cool. Dodgy's kind of a hit or miss card, no pun intended, to begin with. But this is going to make it a lot more difficult to play the card reliably. Like sometimes it'll work, sometimes it won't, sometimes it'll trigger and you'll have 0 AP, so you only duck 1 shot.
Somebody will have to test this and come out with a video. Somebody.
Adrenaline, only 1 rank, gain 10% damage for 30 seconds per kill, duration refreshes with kills. Versus right now, you get 6% damage for 30 seconds per kill. But they don't specify if this also stacks. So here, you could stack it up to 6 times, you get a max of 36%. Here, it either stacks infinitely or doesn't stack at all.
What the hell? I liked adrenaline. There was no need to change it.
So if you only get 10% damage and it just refreshes every time you kill something and then lasts for 30 seconds, I mean, they basically nerfed it by 66%, more than 66%.
Why?
Similarly, the science perks no longer each do energy damage. Now, science does energy damage, science expert does fire damage, and science master does cryo damage. So instead of getting an additional 30%, you're gonna get a scaling amount of damage based on your intelligence. This changes things, possibly better, but it also means that you don't need to run all of these
That's true.
just for additional energy damage.
It will save up some space in your loadout for other cards.
But they're all going from cost 1 to cost 2. So only one rank, but it costs 2.
But you know what? We don't need any of our weapons or our boosts anymore because we'll all be out fishing.
Fishing. Makeshift warrior, removed ranks 4 and 5. So now you just have up to 3. Gunsmith, removed ranks 4 and 5, same thing. White Knight moved from agility to intelligence. Rifleman appears to be following the rest of the gun perks, shifting from non-automatic to guns in general, giving you an additional ranged damage to far enemies versus the gunslinger perks, which are giving you ranged damage to close enemies. Rifleman Expert, scoped weapons while aiming. Rifleman Master, additional weak spot damage while aiming a scoped weapon. And then Sniper, nobody uses that. Long shots, your scoped weapons have 30% more range and accuracy. All right, so a lot of things where they're removing the additional ranks and just making them work. So they're bringing out a bunch of stuff to change limb damage, but then changing commando to only apply on the torso. Now that would be helpful for people who are not running concentrated fire. So you can actually get additional damage with that just because you're targeting the body of the creature. Movement speed bonuses applied to reload speed. That's kind of cool. Weapon damage is increased by AP cost. Oh, that's dirty. That's so dirty. All right, so there are some weapons, can't figure out how to spell commando.
Command.
Command master and commander. So most of the time, if you're building a weapon and you want it to work well in VATS, you build it for the lowest AP costs. But now if you don't use VATS, you can build weapons that have crazy high AP costs and run Commando Master, and the weapon damage will be increased by the AP cost. Ground Pounder, faster reload, better hip fire accuracy. Skeet Shooter, small guns have improved accuracy and spread, remove ranks 2 and 3. Shotgunner, additional ranged damage to crippled targets. There's gonna be some builds around shotguns where you're gonna be able to like cripple a target's limb and then get 75% additional damage to them. Shotgunner Expert, weapons that fire 3 or more projectiles gain 30% range, okay. Master, each projectile that your weapon fires increases your damage against crippled targets by 10%. This also will be helpful in teams where you can have somebody cripple, somebody kill. Scatter Shot, 20% of the damage dealt to a limb is applied to all limbs.
Yay!
This is for you, Noodle.
Yay, goat legs!
Now you will just take no damage from falling.
Nice! I run goat legs on my ghoul character. She was breaking her legs like crazy.
And this, rank 1 star, you'll be able to jump off of anything like you can in Power Armor.
Nice.
It takes 0 damage.
Nice, yes.
And then it changed to Blood Sacrifice, which is a legendary perk card. Currently, Blood Sacrifice is when you die, teammates gain plus 25 DR and heal 40 hit points over 8 seconds, and I bet nobody uses that. I mean, that's at 1 star, so that scales up to 40 damage resistance and 70 HP over 14 seconds, and probably nobody runs it. But now, if you use AP and VATS at rank 4, it'll consume hit points instead at 50% more cost. This is interesting. It won't consume AP. Your weapons in VATS will consume life. So you could have a super high HP build and get a lot more AP out of that for your weapons, and then just like spam a bunch of stim packs to recover. That's gonna be fun.
That is actually interesting. Some of these mechanics are well written.
Changes to legendary mods. Nocturnal, Bloodied is kind of amazing, up to 130% additional damage. Junkies, up to 100%. Resilient now increases all resistances by 500 when reloading. 2-shot damage buff to 75%. Stalkers, they're saying is a new effect, and I'm guessing that's because nobody used it. Previously, if not in combat, 100% increase in VATS accuracy at an additional 50% AP cost. But now, increased sneak attack damage by 100%. That seems more fair.
Yeah, certainly more fitting of the name.
Mutants increased to 50%, Gormon increased to 40%, VATS optimized to 35%, and Hitman's additional 25% weak spot damage while aiming instead of a straight 25% boost to damage while aiming. So now it's only to weak spots. Bethesda giveth, Bethesda taketh away. Instigating, 50% damage against targets above 60% health. Juggernauts now scales based on your HP directly, not as a percentage. Increase the cap to 100% damage at 1,000 HP. Wow, which is appropriate because a Juggernaut would be a big giant tank. So you're gonna need somebody that has 1,000 HP. I've never seen anybody that's 1,000 HP.
That's appropriate.
Oh, pinpointers no longer counts the head as an appendage.
No, we like that.
Oh, boo. If they're fixing it there, then that means that the days of heads being limbs are coming to
over.
An end. Mutations. Adrenal reaction now grants an additional 5% damage per kill instead of being like a mutated version of Bloody.
Oh, okay.
So it used to only apply increased weapon damage at low HP while reducing your HP. Now it will reduce your HP, but will give 5% damage per kill across the board. Some things moved to the heavy guns group, which makes sense. Fusion Core moved from chemistry bench to the tinker bench. And you can now repair items at 100% health if you have the correct perks. This is good. If you have the perk to allow you to repair it to 200%, you can only apply it to something that is lower than 100% health.
That's dumb.
Whereas now you'll be able to restore it to more, which is good if you want to use polished. They added a setting to change the quick heal priority and
reduce the cost of fast.
Everybody gets a discount. You get a discount. You get a discount. When looting from nearby corpses, items of the same type will now be lumped into one item to allow for bulk pickups. Oh, that's great. When you're looting from everything, instead of having like cap, it'll be like all of the caps.
Yes,
all
finally.
Of the all of the what instead of things jumping around.
Because I hate picking up all, especially from super mutant locations.
Yeah.
They carry like sledgehammers and really heavy shit that I totally don't need. But I do like picking up ammo from them for the gun that I'm carrying.
Yep. Well, there you have it, boys and girls and other things. The latest PTS update and a glimpse into what's coming for changes in perks, perk cards, mods, and various other stuff. This video is already way too long, so we're gonna cut it off here.
But not before asking you to let us know in the comments what you think about this fishing update. Will you be upgrading your rod and hunting for those endangered fish bits?
My name is Oskapt.
And I'm Noodle Pants.
And until next time,
stay fishy out there, vault dwellers.
Fish heads, roly-poly fish heads, eat them up, yum.
In the heart of West Virginia, where the shadows creep and sway, lies a land of rusted dreams, where the brave dare not stray. Appalachia, oh, it's a treacherous ride, with dangers untold and nowhere to hide.